What's up? It's Wednesday, February 22nd, and you're listening to another episode of the Chasing Points podcast, your weekly honest dive into the world of sports. See, here's the thing, guys. We had a great show for you today. There's a lot going on. We got our friends are in the building.
Yes, hello.
Dame and Harrison. Brandon's here as well, laughing his ass off at me. As you know, Brandon changed the intro to this, despite the fact that I'm the one that reads it every week. So
you're right.
Here we are.
You know, it's kind of like guys? What just happened to Liverpool with Real Madrid. They thought they were in a game, and then boom, got punched right in the mouth. Things just change. Yeah, pretty interesting. But gentlemen, welcome back. Appreciate having you guys back. I know this is going to be a very, very entertaining podcast this week, especially from the topics that we've spoken about individually. But Sam, lead us right into the All-Star game, man, which we didn't speak about last week, which I don't know why neither of us did.
Yeah, man, the All-Star NBA All-Star weekend happened and we didn't bring it up. So here we are, post-mortem on the NBA All-Star weekend. Hell of a game, right, guys?
Yeah, okay.
Right. Team LeBron lost to Team Giannis, 184 to 175. That's something. And Jason Tatum won the MVP award, 55 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. So Tatum's 55 points broke Anthony Davis's record from a few years back. I think he had 52. And after scoring a team high 17 points in the first half, Tatum came back and dominated in that second half, and the rest is history there. Guys, I guess initial thoughts, I will throw it to Brandon as usual, but you know what? Screw that. Dame, what'd you think of the NBA All-Star game?
Yeah, it's pretty dry. I do like Jason Tatum getting the Kobe Bryant Award. I wasn't sure if that was the first one. Is that the first year they've done that?
This is the first year of their awards, yeah.
I just want to double check. No, it's pretty dry, man. But I like to see it just for nostalgia purposes. Like, I think if they ever did do away with it, I'd be sad about it. But I do like it being there, but they got to do something with it. Got to change the competition level or something. I'm not sure. Like, I don't have an answer for it, but I'd barely watched it, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't watch much of all of it. I mean, I saw leading up to it, but usually I'm really pumped. We've spent in the past episodes just talking about getting ready for the All-Star game, and kind of just the weekend came and went. Harrison, what were your thoughts on what happened Sunday night?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first kind of thing to realize is, I guess, All-Star games are not for our age demographic anymore. I think they're for younger fans. I think they're for younger fans. I think they're for kids, for people that are kind of watching the superstars and want to see them all on the court together. So I think first and foremost, it's important to kind of remember that a little bit, from MLB to NBA to all that stuff. It's for a younger audience, in my opinion. But yeah, it's just dry. It's, me and Brandon talked about it, I think, last time I was on, and it's kind of just the offensive talent in the league is kind of dwarfed the defensive talent so much, and the games night in and night out are a little dry here and there, despite all the amazing performances. So yeah, for me, I turned it off at halftime. I can only watch so many alley-oops. Like, I was cool with it. Obviously the teams weren't competing at a high level. There's got to be some things that are changed here. Like, I think they should really go to look at kind of the internationals versus the US. I think that would be a lot of fun. And I think, with where the league is at, having those lineups against each other could be cool. I think shorter quarters would help. But I do like the Elam ending. I think that's been a good addition. But other than that, yeah, just a little dry. Some years they compete, some years they don't. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah, Brandon, now it's your turn. You're welcome.
First, you can go to hell. 2, I appreciate what everybody said, and I'm in agreement with most, but I'm gonna say F all that, because I'm tired of the all-star games that we are watching a collective of superstars play, and we want to see a pure talent. Like I remember Kobe saying a while back, everybody wants to see, this is the only time we really get to see all of these players together. And you want to see the best basketball game ever, like these guys against each other, the superpower team against each other. And then we don't really see this, as Harrison said, we just see alley-oops and move out my way. I'm going to throw the ball around you and come up and windmill around you, which we know if this was a real competitive game, that's not happening. If these guys play more competitive games at like UCLA than they do on the All-Star game, which is the biggest stage for all of them. I wish we would get more competitive games. I wish it was like what we grew up and saw, because to your point, Harrison, what we used to see was like the first half, it was like, okay, fun, haha, throw alley-oops, do all this crazy stuff. Second half, game on, right? And it was, I'm coming for your neck. I'm trying to win this game. I don't really know where they go from here or what they do from here. Essentially, to the point for me is like they might as well play flag basketball at this point. Like if we can make a thing up, like bring back rock and drop basketball or something like that. I'm just, they might as well just make the whole court trampolines and just have everybody jump on it. That'd be more entertaining than the shit that we just saw. That's my honest opinion on it.
It's not like they can, there's really no history or like solidarity, like East versus West or whatever. But to have this like draft, which is, it is what it is. It's not really geared towards us. You're absolutely right. If anything, it just generates content. But to have this draft, them get drafted like a half an hour before the game, like, and okay, we're gonna go play hard. It's like, you don't even have enough time to remember who's on your team. Like they're wearing the same color uniform, so it's kind of like it's an all-star game. None of it bothers me. The question is like, how can we fix the all-star game? It's just it's there. It's there.
I think
the thing with, hold on one second, with the MLB, the Major League Baseball All-Star game, they put real life consequences on it, and everyone hated it, and everyone was upset. And this was because they ran out of pitchers in Milwaukee in like 2002 or 3 or whatever it was, and like, okay, let's have it decide home field advantage, and everyone hated it. So it's like, where's the middle ground? I don't see it. Sorry, Harrison. Go.
No, all good. I think the point you made was a good one. Like when we had East versus West, there were some built-in kind of rivalries and stakes of what you're playing for. Like picking your team in half an hour before doesn't lend to that, because you don't even care who you're playing or going up against. It's for the storylines, but you need a little bit more drawn out storylines. So even picking teams ahead of time like they did last year was, I think, better than what they tried to do this year. But like you said, like fixing it, like Brandon, I don't really remember a time where it was that competitive. Like maybe every once in a while you got a good fourth quarter, but for the most part, this game has kind of always been like this. But it is what it is.
For majority of the games, I'd say so. But I still feel with the people, the likes of the Chris Pauls, the Kobe's, the type I'm going to go for your neck because I want to win, it always changed in the second half. The first half, it was always this. Like, that's what I always felt like watching. It was like, okay, cool. You know what it was going to be. Yeah, we're going to see like the best dunks and the best crossovers, and I'm going one-on-one and we're just doing ISO ball. Like, I love that. I don't mind it, but I do want to see at least a competitive half. Like, I want to see the best guys go against the best guys. That's just what I would like to see. But to your point, Harrison, overall, the majority of the time is exactly what we just saw. So
yeah, I think I remember the best one being the year Kobe passed. And then they instituted that ending, and that was a good one. But that one had some stakes, I guess. You know what I mean? Like everyone was playing in Kobe's memory and so on and so forth. So yeah, it was tough to
fresh off of his passing too. Yeah. It was only a few weeks. Yeah.
I mean, you guys think it has anything to do with the fact of like the players of this generation seem to be more friends than in the past?
Well,
I mean, that's in the public eye.
Yeah, that's always been the gripe, right? Everyone just going out partying, and Jordan wanted to, kill
everybody.
So it's just kind of like LeBron's on a banana boat with his friends, and like Jordan, didn't have that same attitude. It's just kind of it speaks to the differences in eras, if you will.
I would say maybe though. I mean, for me, like, I kind of want to beat my friends more than I want to beat some random stranger, to be honest with you.
It's bragging rights. Yeah, it's absolutely bragging rights.
That's why Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum was so entertaining. For
yes, fun, yeah. Exactly, because they can go back to practice and be like, "So, you remember what I did to you on the court? Like, you remember what I did? Yeah.
Now
all
everybody
right, remember
knows.
that. Like, that's great. Like those little mini storylines are cool. But I think too, and before we move on to the next part of this, Harrison brought up a great point. And I really do feel that they should have the U.S. against international, because that kind of reminds me of like when the mega teams go and play and they are super competitive, even with all that talent. But the international team has a ton of talent. You got Luka, you got Giannis, right? You just those two on top of everybody else that they have. That game would be a crazy game in itself. So if there were some stakes on the line, I don't know what they do, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, here the barometer is too. Everyone said the same thing about the Pro Bowl. They took a risk. I mean, the NFL doesn't really take risks. They just kind of do things and it ends up working. But they changed the Pro Bowl, and what we feel about the Pro Bowl. Like, it was cool, but like probably the same amount of people watched it than they did the year before, maybe a little more because of the hype. So it's just kind of just going to go in circles. It exists because of TV ratings and sponsorships, and a way for the NBA to put the attention on itself for 3 days, and for Nike to drop shoes, so it's just kind of like that's why
I really hope I know they've talked about it, and I really hope this is what it turns into. I hope they make it a mid-season tournament and they can save the All-Star game for the end of the season, because having an All-Star game in the middle of the season, Bron just hurt his hand, which we're going to get into in a second, right, in that game. And I'm sure these guys don't want to hurt themselves mid-season if they have a chance to potentially go somewhere. So you're not going to get that full effort that you may get when the season's over, right, and have those accolades, because this is, as we know, the second half of the season is the most important half. Like, not saying the first half isn't important, but the second is the most important for that playoff push. So you're going to go and give your all during that, right? It's not going to be what we expect. It's never going to be that way. If it's at the end of the season, I can see more effort given. But if there's like a mid-season tournament when there's actually something on the line, maybe something towards standings, maybe monetary purposes, I think that that would be the better effort or better event that they could put in the middle of the season. I'd like that better.
I can agree with that.
I mean, it happened. It was a way to celebrate the league for the weekend, and it was a wild weekend. But especially when one of your own head coach of one of the teams, Michael Malone of the Nuggets, basically said it's the worst basketball game he's ever played. Well, I mean, certainly not a competitive game. And Jaylen Brown called it a glorified layup line, which I thought was hilarious and true. So it's just, it happened. It happened.
Yeah.
It's over now.
It happened.
Yeah. So, injury is a huge part of it, as you mentioned just a second ago, Hayes. LeBron left with a right hand contusion. Probably happened on that Siakam block. And, just days before the All-Star game, Giannis got hurt. Hurt his right hand, and then just started the game, did tip off. I think had a dunk, and he was done for the night, just so the fans could see him. So, it was it was a kind of a interesting weekend when you got to All-Star Saturday, right? All the skills competition, which they changed up, I think, a couple years ago. I mean, you had the 3-point shot, which Dame Lillard was just on fire, took away.
Dame!
Surprised with that. And then you have the slam dunk competition, which was, I was watching at a restaurant. I was like, okay. And now the whole world knows who Mac McClung is. And I had no idea who he was.
He's Billy Hoyle from White Man Can't Jump.
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
Not Matt McClung.
That's fair.
So the 76ers.
That's fair.
Yeah. This dude was in the G League on Tuesday, and he gets called up probably just so he can serve in this slam dunk competition. And 3 of his 4 dunks scored a perfect 50. Only 1 vote. He only got 1-9 in the whole through all 4 dunks. So it's wild. Yeah. So just very interesting. Interesting dunks, man. It was fun. I think LeBron called him one of the best dunkers in competition history or something.
Yeah,
along those
because
lines.
LeBron's ass is sitting on the sideline. Okay, I'm taking this over.
Uh-oh.
LeBron James is. I don't agree with Stephen A. on most of the damn things that he says, but the dunk contest has not been the same since LeBron has dunked the dunk contest. We all want to see LeBron dunk. We all want to see it. Harrison, this is your dude, the guy that is your favorite player. I know damn well, deep down in your heart, you want to see him in a dunk contest and see him absolutely show out. Everybody that watches and loves basketball wants to see you show out, and you chose not to do it. And guess what? Everybody started to follow suit after you. So we don't get to see the real people that we actually want to see dunk in it. Now we have to see G Leaguers, and probably next year they're going to get YouTubers off the damn street dunking because they do better dunks than the NBA players. I'm sick and tired of this goddamn slam dunk contest that's not a slam dunk contest anymore. It's annoying. It's really annoying. I see better dunks on YouTube every damn day, and we can't even watch it with all-stars that do and jump higher than all these people. I'm so over this shit, man. I really am.
Man, the slam dunk contest hits a nerve. Keeps them up
it
at
does.
night,
Wow.
It does, because it used to be so great. Like Mac did extremely well. Like he brought that energy that you wanted to see in a slam dunk contest. Like it's sad that everybody in the dunk contest, essentially nobody really knows. If we're going to be truthful about it, nobody really knows them to that extent. And all the people that are on the sideline with their phones is like, we want to see you. We want to see you. You're not dunking. You're not dunking. And we're watching G Leaguers come in. Homeboy got a Puma deal at the end of this. He dunked so well. He dunked himself into a Puma deal. Dunked himself into a Puma deal. Shout out to him, but they got to do better.
But back in the day, that dunk contest was like what it took to make someone into a rising star. Like nobody knew who T-Mac was. People had an idea of Vince Carter. So like the point is to put yourself on the map. So and my other thing is, do we really think Bron is gonna bring dunks like that? I feel like he's more of an in-game dunker. Like you got, I don't think he's going to do.
So you're saying it's a business decision on LeBron's behalf,
and he knows that he's not that type of dunker.
Okay,
but also the point of that dunk contest when they started was to take a young guy who had some potential, put a little pizzazz out there, wow the crowd, and everyone gets interested in him. Like when T-Mac and them did that, there was only Vince Carter jerseys out there. Like they were about to trade T-Mac, and it was about to be over, which they ended up doing because he built his value. But he does that dunk contest, and it's the equivalent of the Rising Star Challenge, put himself on the map. So if you're these guys now, like an Ant Edwards, imagine him risking his career on a dunk contest when he already is on the map and has everything he wanted to. It was really just a popularity booster.
That's why most of the people do it in their, like to your point, they do it in their first couple of years, right? I'm not saying, of course, we would love to see, if Bron said next year, because Zion is flirting with the idea of doing the dunk contest next year. Ja already said no. But if LeBron tomorrow is like, you know what, I'm going to do the dunk contest next year. Do you know how many people would be like, yeah, no, I'm trying to get in on this dunk contest that are actually like serious dunkers? It's, to your point, Dame, nobody's going to do it right now that could really injure themselves. But when you start off, it's kind of like, okay, we know you got bunnies. We see all this, like, what's homeboy from the Rockets that jumps out of the gym? Jalen Green?
Right? Jalen Green.
Right? Yeah. So like when you already know what he was doing in high school before coming there. So you absolutely want to see what he was going to do there. He was already on the map because of that. But you still want to see it on a level against other superior athletes. And I feel that we're always robbed on that compared to what we used to get, which were essentially the best dunkers at that time.
The competition was definitely more fierce. And it's the same issue as the All-Star game. Like, what do you get out of it now at this point?
Sure.
That's why I agree with Dame's point. It's like we've already seen these guys and marketed them so highly in high school. So like there's nothing for them to gain by doing the dunk contest anymore other than saying, okay, he's the best dunker, maybe. But if they lose that, then he's not the best dunker. So they're like living off the mystique of like, oh no, I could do it, but like I'm not going to.
That was exactly going to be my point.
And that's like it. it sucks for us, like as fans, because obviously, yes, like Mac McClung did fine, but it's just not what you want to see. Like you want to see Ja, you want to see Zion. Yeah, I wish LeBron would have done it 15 years ago.
Yeah,
but
of course. Yeah,
like,
of course.
So it's like, but there still are young dunkers out there like Ant Edwards, Ja, like that can do it and need to have like a little bit of like pride in it that could like bring this back. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like Dame said, they're already so hyped. Like we have like overhyped everyone to this point. And it's a problem. And for the dunk contest specifically.
Yeah, the home run derby, they give the winner like $1 million now, you know. And at the time when like Aaron Judge won, like he wasn't even making $1 million. So I mean, like Pete Alonso famously like said, you know, yeah, why not? You know, it wasn't making nearly
extra $1 million in my pocket. Yeah,
yeah, why not? Just to have batting practice. So I mean, yeah, I think to Harrison's point, they have more to lose than to gain. And I don't think a 39-year-old LeBron is doing a dunk.
No, that was just me throwing it out there that we know that we would love to see it. I obviously do not believe that LeBron is going to ever touch a slam dunk contest. That time has gone and passed a long time ago. To Harrison's point, 15 years ago, it's gone. But for the young dunkers, like I love that Zion is flirting with the idea of actually doing it. His ass needs to get into the gym first and lose some weight. And probably work on his mobility in his body before he does anything else, because he can't land properly. And that's one of my biggest gripes for him. But I would absolutely love to see Zion dunk the ball.
I didn't see us fat shaming Zion this early in the show.
Yep. Well, you got it. It was there.
I like it. Continue.
Yeah, I was saving that for Do You Care, but I guess we're doing it now.
I would say maybe the smart marketing move for LeBron now is to do the dunk contest and beat all these young kids at 38. But, you know, hey.
Oh, just something else to add to the resume.
That would be crazy. Like, yeah, I got all the points now. Let me go and try this against these young kids. Show you what I got.
The last point I wanted to make on this, I thought it was fascinating that like they showed the sidelines of the baseline and you know all that the athletes, the stars that were there were kind of just like there were some dunks where they didn't even do anything, and then you close your eyes and you remember like Shaq with the camcorder. I think it was the Vince Carter, like making that Shaq face, and it's like,
well, he was doing it for Mac. It was hilarious what he was doing for Mac. But so I love that.
But you know, like the energy of the active players, like KG, all these guys, like, oh, what just happened, you know? And like, I mean, obviously the Vince Carter dunk contest is probably
that's the one that's always etched in my mind.
Right? Yeah. I mean, any sports fan, any basketball fan knows where they were on, you know, that Saturday night watching that. So I mean, yeah, I mean, we saw Blake Griffin kind of dunk over a car. I mean, what's there left to do? Like I don't know, but it happened.
Yeah. I hope Blake Griffin is still getting the bag for jumping over that bum ass Kia. I really hope he's still getting money for that.
He has to be, bro.
Yeah, I hope so. I really, really hope so. Yeah, Sam, we got the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Yeah, speaking of Hall of Famers, Blake Griffin. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
Basketball Hall of Fame. Some finalists were announced for the 2023 class of that's the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Massachusetts. It was announced Friday night, part of All-Star Weekend, included D. Wade, Dirk, Paul Gasol, and for coaching, Greg Popovich. Just star-studded, easy first ballot, Hall of Famers here. Some of the best talent on the court and to hold a clipboard in NBA history. So, feel for any of the returning athletes that are trying to get on this year's ballot, because it is absolutely stacked.
Not gonna happen.
I didn't even mention Tony Parker, Becky Hammon as well. Like just, a solid class. And now we're starting to get into like, seeing, oh man, I remember when he was drafted. I remember him in college. And now it's like, at least for me, it's like, damn, this, career's well over. And now they're in the Hall of Fame. So just wild. You guys thoughts on this class? Harrison's looking at the cameras. Okay, go ahead, Dan.
I have one, and I'm only going to comment on one person.
Yeah, he's going to say Dwayne Wade.
Oh,
I knew
hit
it.
him with the D-Wade step back.
I knew it.
Listen, that's it. I'm just so happy to see that name on there as well deserved. Like, I think he transcended the game in his own way. And there's not much to say, man. Dwayne Wade's the guy. I like Dirk too, but all I care about on this list is Dwayne Wade, honestly.
No, it's awesome to see, like, so many great names. I love the Basketball Hall of Fame. They're not too selective. It's not too political like the MLB one. I mean, if you do something, worthy in this game, you get to be there. It's a cool place to go as well. So, excited to see, the celebration and all that going on. But, this is a solid list. And I think it'll continue to be. This has just been a great era of basketball, all-star game notwithstanding. So, good list.
I was just there this weekend in Springfield. Literally drove right past this. Wanted to go in there, and I was just like, don't really support the All-Star game anymore. But to Dame's point, Dwayne Wade is one of my favorite players of all time. He is literally top 3 favorite players for me ever. So this might be a trip that I have to make back up to Springfield, take a little 2-hour drive up there. Dame, you're more than willing to hop in the car. But I also want to see Dirk. For those that don't know, I used to be a Mavericks fan. And he was part of the reason I was a Maverick fan. Dirk Nowitzki. I love what they built down there. And he is a big part of what we see now from the international players. Seeing how he played influenced a lot of the guys that are in the league now. Luka is probably one of the prime people that he influenced. And ironically, he went to that same team. Shout out to Pal. I mean, Pal was never really one of my favorite players, but he's a gamer. He's always been a gamer, and he's got rings to prove that too. He was definitely cold on there and well respected amongst his peers, but Pop is probably one of the most unsung heroes in this Hall of Fame induction class because of what he does on the court and what he says after the games when it always comes to social injustices, any political thing that he stands firmly against. I love that he always uses his voice in the right way and stands up for the players, understanding where he works and who he works with, and how he kind of treats all the players like they're his sons, essentially. Like they're a part of his family, and you can see the embrace of any of his former players. Just watch any game that he plays against one of his former players, the love that they always give them. And if you've ever played any time of sport and you have that one coach that you always love that did something for you that you will never, ever forget, that's Pop for a lot of people. So I'm happy to see him get his flowers. Tony Parker, a monster, one of his players. Becky Hammon, a legend. So shout outs to them all.
Yeah, totally stacked class. So I guess the announcement of the players, people who will be inducted will happen during the Final Four. Sounds like during March Madness there. And the enshrinement is August 11th and 12th, I believe. So interesting, Harrison, that Brandon invited Dame for a road trip.
But you don't care about D-Wade like Dame cares about D-Wade.
So,
that's why.
I've been to the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Do I detect jealousy?
Yeah, he does.
I'm just saying he didn't invite me.
I mean, you can come, Sam.
Harrison.
I mean, that was more of like everybody but Harrison because we know Harrison's not going to come. So,
question. It's not his.
I love Dirk Nowitzki too, and you said he's part of the reason you're a Mavs fan. But last week you said you were a Mavs and then now a Nets fan because of Darren Williams.
Yep, that's correct. So
on the hierarchy of basketball talent, you're really just a Darren Williams truther.
No. I was Darren Williams brought me to the Brooklyn Nets, and that's where it stayed.
But Dirk wasn't enough to keep you.
No, Dirk was not enough at that point in time. No. They won their ring, and I wanted to go to the new flashy team. It was Jay-Z there, part of all that. It was New York. Said I want to really root for a team that I can see on a regular basis. Can't really go and see the Mavericks all the time. So,
no, Brandon, you don't got to explain yourself.
I never root for the Knicks.
What you want?
You're right. You're right, Dame. You're right. Appreciate
you. Go where you want to go.
You're right.
The players are doing it these days, right?
That's fair.
I'm just trying to follow Harrison's lead. That's it. I'm just trying to follow.
I knew that was coming.
There's a lot of. We need a separate podcast to just dive into all of this, but
We could really have a separate podcast for Harrison slander alone, just to let you know.
That is very, very true.
We are very well prepared for that.
Sounds like Harrison. There's a text chain with you and one without you.
No, there's one with him. It's all we say. Everything we need to say right to him. Do not get it twisted. So yeah, NBA news, man. As we continue off of that, the Utah Jazz buy out Russell Westbrook, and the Clippers, the team that shares the same arena with the Lakers, the team that has a front row seat to watch how terrible Russ has been playing, says, you know what? We're going to pick you up. Now, all jokes aside, do you guys like this move, and does this move matter for the playoff push?
Who goes first?
You, since you vote.
I'd take offense to Russell Westbrook playing terrible. He's the sixth man of the year.
Sure.
Right. I think he's been playing fine. I think he's playing really good. Yeah. I think he wasn't a good fit on the Lakers and what they were trying to do. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we needed more shooters around LeBron, more shooters around Anthony Davis.
You're right. You said we.
They. For the Clippers, I think he's a good fit. I mean, obviously, you're jumping from the 13th place team in the West in the Lakers to the 4th place team in the West in the Clippers. I think he'll help. I don't see why he wouldn't help. I think he's still a solid player. He's definitely not what he used to be, but I think people are trying to compare him what he used to be, and that's just an impossible thing to live up to. So I'm still a fan of what Russ brings to the table, and I think, the Clippers will use him adequately. Do I think the Clippers become a title favorite off that? No chance at all. But I think they'll, use him well, and who knows how far they'll go in the West.
Fair. Sam, you're doing a really talented thing of speaking to us on mute.
Classic, dude.
Go ahead, Dave.
I agree with Harrison. I think people are just like wanting to see how Russell used to be. But I do think him going to the Clippers, and again, it doesn't make them a championship team, but if they should somehow play the Lakers or someone that matters and he's angry about it, it could be troublesome. I don't think he has nothing in the tank. He's quality, man. Like, he's doing his thing. The fit wasn't right. Playing with LeBron is not easy if you're not high.
No, not at all.
Really shoot, honestly. It's a very difficult thing to do because he wants you to do the right thing in every position, and sometimes it just takes time. And Russell's one of those guys who's never had that. He's just been the motor. It's like, get it and go, make it happen. And he's always done it with underachieving teams, so to speak. And he just builds these guys up. And most of the guys on that Oklahoma City team, when he's by himself and they're doing all the dances in the beginning, they're not in the league or they're on the bench somewhere.
Yeah, I do like the Clippers. Yeah, he's always kind of been that motor, like Mr. Triple Double, right? We knew that. We talked about it last week, guys. We knew this kind of game would not age well, but certainly one of the more athletic and physically talented players the league's ever seen. So, people in the teams in the West had to do something, especially now with KD coming to town. And Kawhi's playing really well headed into the break there. So, you could see certainly this team is still going to go through him and Paul George and, just some more firepower, even if it's just off the bench, second team, change of pace kind of guy. I agree with you, Dave. I don't think it's going to really do anything, but it's something.
I'm intrigued to see how this plays out, because it's an upgrade over John Wall. So they brought John Wall in. They thought he could be the third piece that they needed, and that didn't work out. To Harrison's point, Russ, in the latter half of the first half of the season, Russ played way better than the first half of the season, in my opinion. But we've talked about it on this podcast many a times. Russ's game, and Harrison even said it when he was on here as well, is that his game has not translated well, but he's finding his legs with the new Russ, right? To the point of what he was the old, it's not the triple-double Russ. I mean, we could say the same thing about James Harden. He's not the triple-double James Harden anymore. They're finding their new game and what they're able to do and the abilities they're able to do now within kind of championship teams, abilities to have that, right? I don't know what happens here. I really feel the only thing that has held the Clippers back is Kawhi Leonard's health. And that is the only thing that I'm truly worried about and ever been worried about this Clippers team is his health, because he can't stay on the court. If he can stay on the court, they are going to absolutely be a problem with him, Paul George. And then you have to worry about Russ as well, too. But it all starts with Kawhi. That's the only thing that I really, really, really am concerned about. And then from there, we see how it goes. I don't know how people are going to beat the Suns now. I'm really curious to see how this is just going to happen. That's just my only thing.
Yeah, Harrison, Dame, you weren't here last week. We were talking about the KD trade, but what are your thoughts on just pivoting real quick to how the West? I mean, every day you wake up, the West is in a different seeding, right? But are the Suns the favorite not only to win the West, but the whole damn thing? Just get your thoughts on that.
For me, they are. I mean, when you add KD to that roster that was in the finals last year, I know they lost some depth, obviously, but when you add KD, you become a favorite right away. So if he can come back and be healthy, they're going to be a real tough out.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. At that point in that Western Conference Finals, like there's nothing you can do about it. There's no one to check him. And like Harrison said, if he's healthy, he can definitely guard in a crunch time situation. Not pretty much anyone on that side too. He's not the greatest defender, but he's so long that it makes it difficult. I feel like if they ran into the Mavericks, they'd have the best chance because of that too. Like in that last 2 minutes, if you just stick him on Luka to make it difficult, outside of the offensive skill set he has, like at that point, you can't double team Devin Booker, and one-on-one with either of those guys is just a nightmare. So if they don't take it all, I'll be disappointed. But obviously, the chemistry is there. I don't think it'd be an issue for Durant. I think as long as the rest of the players in the team don't look at it like, oh my God, it's Kevin Durant, we got to beat him, and they just allow him to settle himself into the system, they'll have success quicker. But if it's like we got to revolve around KD and make it KD's team, then it might not be what we think it should be.
I see the Nuggets as kind of their top kind of adversary. But those, like, if that is the Western Conference Finals, those games are going to be 150 to 160. So it's going to be
yeah,
shootout, baby.
Yeah,
what about?
I don't know how either of those teams are stopping one another.
Yeah,
it's we want to see it in the playoffs, but not necessarily in the All-Star game. Got it.
Yeah.
So moving on, Brandon, I'll give you the floor first here. Your Nets made it official, dropped the interim tag for Jacques Vaughn recently, but now he's agreed to an extension and expected to keep him under team control through the 26-27 season. They've had the fifth best record, 32-19, since he took over for Steve Nash, who I believe was like 0-2. Thoughts on your fifth seed Brooklyn Nets?
Well, they're not going to be the fifth seed for too long. But as I said last week, I really love this young team. I really love the pieces that they have. This is all I can hang my hat on anyway. But I really do love seeing what they bring out. Bridges has been a beast. I'm glad he's been getting his shine, dropping that 45-point game and kind of letting people know, like, I'm here. Like we've seen Devin Booker, you had Chris Paul. That's all you guys really talked about. I'm kind of here. Cam Thomas has absolutely been balling out. But for Jock, this came too late for me, because you guys decided to hire Steve Nash, who had no coaching experience, and you put him as your head coach. If the Nets actually had a head coach, things probably could have been different. But then there's also Kyrie. But I'm happy for Jock. That's all I'll say for that. I'm happy for Jock.
All right. I'm glad you're happy.
Thanks. Sure.
Sweet. Well, I guess moving on.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron.
Wait.
Yo.
Can I ask one question?
Wait.
I was patiently waiting, and I was, perusing the notes, but there's no talk about deloading on the Lakers? We don't feel like that's a big deal, or is everyone just like, eh?
Oh, it's coming up.
Yeah, you ain't read the notes that well.
All right, never mind. Never mind. I'm gonna be quiet. I'll wait.
Good.
He was so thrilled with the Nets news.
Yeah. Yeah, he had to go. He jumped ahead. He was
I was so ready for it, bro. I got nothing to.
It's cute you like this team, Brandon, but they're terrible. They're going to be awful.
I just said they're not going to be the fifth seed for long. That's literally what I said first. I know that.
I like that you like them. That's nice, but
I do. You know,
do the Nets make the playoffs?
Yes.
No.
Yes. We'll talk about this off air.
Does playing game count as playoffs?
It's playoffs.
Nope.
Yeah.
You don't make
playoffs.
I think it does count.
It's the playoffs.
It is not. It's a playing game.
The play-in game is a part of the playoffs. Just like the wild card is a part of the playoffs.
That's true. Wild card is part of the
same thing.
I wish
that's not the structure. The play-in game is to play in to get into the playoffs.
Yes, but it's also a seeding too for the playoffs. So it's still playoffs.
So then every regular season game is part of the playoffs.
No, because not every team gets to play in the play-in games.
What?
Does every team get to play in the play-in game? No.
With the possibility of a 10 seed beating a 7 seed and making it to playoffs, I guess you'd have to say that the 10 seed is in the playoffs. Just by March Madness too, those playing games on Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever they are. They're March Madness games.
They'll drop to 9 or 10. So the Bulls are outside looking in right now with 26 wins and the Raptors have 28. So they would drop out for me if there was someone in 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 that just wasn't tanking their ass off. All those teams are doing that, so they can't drop fast enough.
We'll see what happens. We'll talk off air.
Hey, Dame, after the Lakers added D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley, Jared Vanderbilt, and Mo Bamba at the deadline, LeBron James just called the Lakers' remaining 23 regular season games, quote, the most crucial of his career. Everyone needs to contribute. He said, we need to play together, play smart, and play with heart. If we do that, I believe that we can make a run in the playoffs. Lakers are currently 13th in the West, as Harrison just mentioned. Dame, what thoughts on LeBron's statement of the most important 23 games of his life?
I feel like he's always selling it. I don't know that they're the most important 23 games of his life, but I don't know. Maybe is that telling? Like, because he doesn't have that many years left, and he's trying to, get a little championship record going. But they just need a small run. The West is so close together. I want to say like every game is like 2-3s out. You just need a good 10-game winning streak or just a good quality 10-game record, whether it's 7-3 or something of that nature, and they can get in there and be comfortable.
Yeah, do we think these additions at the deadline are enough to get these guys at least to the play-in?
I love D'Angelo Russell on that team. Like, I really do. He's my kind of guy, man. He don't care. He's gonna take the shot he wants to take. You can see, like, playing with LeBron, you kind of got to be like that. I hear you. You're LeBron James, but I'm shooting this 3 and it's going in. My job is to get back on defense. Like, when there's no one to check each other, it doesn't make for a good team, honestly. Like, there was people checking Jordan on that Bulls team. Like, people don't like to talk about it, but Scottie could talk to MJ, and I don't think LeBron has that. I think everybody yes-mans him. So
Scottie, it was Steve Kerr. What are you talking about? Not playing.
What do you mean? Well, I mean, the whole team could check them. Bill Cartwright checked him.
I was joking.
Scottie used to.
Yeah. John Paxton.
Yeah,
that's it.
Steve Kerr getting into fist fights.
You got Phil Jackson out there doing the right thing, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with them. I like D-Lo, though. I think it's a great addition. I think it helps them tremendously.
I think it's a cool story for him coming back to the Lakers.
100%.
How he left, all the controversy to only go to Brooklyn, kind of revitalize his career, go to the T-Wolves, ball out there, and then now come all the way back to the Lakers. Like, it's really, really cool to see his story go from there. Like, he has one of the greatest celebrations, like, in recent memory in basketball, the Ice in the Veins, which is used through every level of basketball, right? And to see how he's kind of made his own name, and I to your point, Dame, he has built that confidence that you didn't see before. Like just being a highly touted prospect coming into from Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
Right. So coming in from Ohio State and what everybody thought he was going to be because he was a killer in college, and then playing on those teams with Kobe, and then all that transpired, and then leaving and then circling back. Like I just love his whole story. So that's huge. And also, before I give it to Harrison, because I know he's going to say something, Dame made a great point of how the West is so close. So the Grizzlies are 35-22. The Kings are 32-25. The Clippers are 33-28. Suns are 32-28.
Yeah,
Nats 31-29. Pelicans 30-29. Timberwolves 31-30. Warriors 29-29. Like it's that close in the West. And like Dame said, at any point, any night, they can literally do that. The Lakers are 27-32. So they are very close to all of those teams, even though they're in 13th place. So anything is possible.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say they're 13th place, but they're 2 games out of 10. So, and then not a team in the West right now has a winning streak longer than 3 games. So the West is absolutely insane. It's really going to turn up this last month or so, and I'm excited to like watch it and dive into it a little more after kind of all the offensive outbursts lately. But I think it's really going to turn a corner right now. I could see the Jazz dropping out a little bit. Thunder are tough. It's going to be tough to crack that playing game. All those teams are talented. But I see them doing it. I think the additions were great. Like I think last time I was on, I was really, really mad at Rob Pelinka and this roster and like what were they doing?
Yeah.
But they did some crazy good deals at that deadline to turn around that roster into something that like resembles something LeBron is good playing with. So hopefully he can stay healthy. AD can stay healthy. I think D'Angelo Russell is super underrated. Jared Vanderbilt. Mo Bamba's fine. So all the additions they made are ones that I think can contribute. So excited to see the end of it.
I think it runs through AD in the sense of like not that it's the offense, but the health. Like if you can get a healthy AD, and we know LeBron doesn't. I mean, he says a lot of stuff, but he's not. After saying something like that, he's not going to certainly mail it in. And he really doesn't do that in general, but you're going to get a locked in LeBron for this final stretch here. So yeah, anything's possible here.
Real quick, Sam, before you go to the next thing, breaking news: Nate McMillan from the Hawks has been fired.
Yeah, I was just going to say that actually.
There you go.
Trae Young wins.
Trae Young does win again.
That's them tying up so much money to Trae Young. They got to get rid of one of them.
Yep.
The Hawks are 29-30 and 8th in the East. So I know it's the East, but they're right there, man. And here's a guy who took over mid-season a couple of years ago and had a really great run. What happened in Atlanta?
They figured out Trae Young.
Yeah. And I guess last for our NBA little round, or NBA news rather, Anthony Edwards called out players sitting and load management, if you will. He was asked if there's anything in the game right now he would change. He said he would change guys sitting and getting rest, especially, I'm paraphrasing here, but if you're 80% and you can play, you should play. People spend a lot of their hard-earned money to see you. It might be the only chance that you come to town or they can see you, and they're sitting. It's certainly been a problem throughout the NBA over the last few seasons, and even Adam Silver addressed it during his State of the Union and during All-Star Weekend or whatever that is. So what do you guys think about load management, if you will, in the NBA? Is it a problem, and how do you fix it?
I think it's a big problem, but I think it has to come to the league itself to save the players from themselves. Like I've said it for a long time, the season needs to be shorter than 82 games.
Yeah.
Like back-to-backs just should not happen. And if we can get to a system where it's like 2 games a week, these games become elevated, and it'll never be the NFL, but the NFL plays once a week and every game is so important. But with an NBA season, you have 82 games, and these early games are just not as important. Like every game matters, but these just don't feel as important. So it's going to take a big system change to change that. And then also, like, I think the game is tougher now. I think it's more spread out. There's a lot more running. The players are a lot different. I know everyone wants to go back to the 90s and like, oh, these guys were hitting each other and fighting each other. I just think it's tougher physically now. And that's, I guess, a hot take, but
nope, it's not.
The way they play. Yeah, the way they play now is different. And there's so much analytics and how to spread the floor and what you need to do on defense and how you need to switch. So I think night in and night out, these players are taxing themselves. And the league needs to kind of figure out a way to shorten this season, whether, I know ad money's on the line, stadium revenue, all that stuff, but they need to figure out a way to shorten the season and elevate these games to the proper level.
I think what you said is perfect, Harrison. I just have two things to add to that. One, that's why I said it's not a hot take. JJ Redick earlier today on what you call it?
First Take.
Thank you, First Take. Actually brought statistics about how it was different, meaning the play in physicality compared to what it was in the 90s. Yes, there was a lot of physicality, more so. I think when we think of physicality when it comes to the 90s, it was no blood, no foul type thing, right? That's what we think of physicality then. But now you actually have like an Anthony Edwards or LeBron James, guys that are physically built like linebackers playing and jumping through the roof, right? And are super athletic. It's a completely different type of game. The speed at which players play, it is a way more physical game in my opinion. So that's one. But to Anthony Edwards' point, and I think it's been a lot of people's points, analysts, some other players and whatnot, is it just really sucks as a fan. Again, the people that are the actual consumers, which in any business, the thing that you want to focus on is your consumer, right? If your consumers are upset because they are spending their hard-earned money to see, let's just say LeBron James, the Lakers only come to New York once a year. And if LeBron sits out like he did, him and AD sat out for the Nets game, if I was spending my money to go and see them, I now can't see them. I have to try to go see them somewhere else or try to go now spend more money to go to Los Angeles to see them play. Like that sucks for the consumers. That sucks for the fans of the game that can't see their players. Now, if they're injured, I have nothing to say about that, right? If they're truly injured, it happens, right? But if you're sitting out because you're resting and it's just put it on the report that you're resting, like that's got to stop. Like that's literally got to stop. That's the part that pisses me off the most. I understand that they do need their rest, but then it also ties back into your point, Harrison, of the NBA changing that schedule and being able to, because I think that will also make it a little bit more competitive too if they reduce that schedule as well. So
I don't know if they're going to do that just based on the regional TV money and the TNT ESPN money, but then you have the local RSAs, right? The Yes Network and MSG and all the other ones. They pay a ton of money to get all these home games, and our owner is going to want they get 41 home games a year without the playoffs. So they're going to want 35, and at what point, if I want a 70 game season, I agree with Harrison. I think less is more, but there's no guarantee with a 70 game season that Kawhi's sitting. Kawhi is the outlier here, but the next Luka isn't playing in New York or LA or, wherever. So it's, it's hard because the tickets just cost more and more every year. And, I get excited. You get excited when the NBA schedule is released and you're like, oh yeah, I'd love to go to that. But do I know Kevin Durant is going to play? It's like, no, you don't. So it's hard. It's I think they'll have to find ways to at least spread out the season, an in-game tournament or something to kind of spread out the season a little bit more. But I don't think owners are going to walk away from 12 regular season games.
No.
So
yeah. Tough money one.
Hayes, what's up?
I think you guys pretty much covered it all. I think the biggest issue with it is the way it was fed to the public, like calling it load management and just resting. Like they need to explain like the fact that these athletes are heavily monitored. They know the wear and tear on this part of your body throughout the season. Like, and it's not in this day and age, like the technology is there. Like when you go, but they're not going to do that because they care about the dollars more than anything else, and they're going to place everything on the players. But they could easily put, hey, load management risk here on a game, like before you buy it. But that would be them actually caring about the clientele, which in most cases big corporations don't. So you just gotta take your risk and do the best with what you got. But yeah, they're definitely not going to shorten anything. It's just too much money.
Well, you bring up a good point, Damon. I'll ask all you guys. This is another question that I've been wrestling with for quite some time now. Do you feel that analytics has ruined sports as we know it?
Yes, and that was going to be part two of my statement here because players are paid based on statistics, analytics, efficiency. So if you give them the information, there's some guys that are smart. Like if it's me and it's about my money and I have a chance to sit out and shorten and keep my averages where they are, I'm doing it. Because at the end of the day, everyone is in there at some point for their money. But you made the rules and now they're playing by them and it's affecting everyone. Like, like I don't know what Draymond Green statistics are, but he seems to be working his way around it. And he mentioned that. He's like, I know I need to do this on these games and that to be paid a certain amount. So all of it affects everything. And the truth is, as a someone who plays sports, I know most of us play sports. I'm not sure if Sam you play sports or not, but bro, I want to be out there. Like half a knee or not, I always wanted to be out there. But again, I wasn't playing for money either.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say there's obviously pros and cons to it. Like, I mean, yeah, it probably has. It has. I mean, like you're seeing scores now and the efficiency that these players are playing at, and that's all kind of due to analytics and knowing what spots to be and knowing where to be and knowing what defender works this way or what offensive player works this way. So it's why we're seeing such high scoring despite, defenses being as analytical as ever. So yeah, it hurts. And then, the body regulation, Whoop devices, all that type of stuff is like definitely giving people a lot of information, but it's good information, but in turn bad information because it's saying, all right, your body really can't take this anymore, no matter how far you push it. Like you're gonna pop an Achilles soon, like if you continue to go with this route. So yeah, pros and cons for sure.
I don't mind it to the extent of like data is, I think if it's used smartly, it can certainly help benefit, right? I mean, I think analytics, and if we're talking basketball here, certainly spread the floor out. A lot more. You realize that there was efficiency in 3-point shots. I was looking at like with Bron passing Kareem, it's like Kareem made 1 3 in his entire career. Like I think, right? Or like made the attempt. I don't even know if he made it.
That was one. Yep.
Yeah, one. So it's kind of like all of those points, by driving the lane and hook shots and all of that. But yeah, I think if it's used the right way, but you can also get into like paralysis by analysis, which is like just way too much data, and I'm overthinking things. Sometimes you just need to go with your gut. You got to go for it on 4th down. You got to drop down that bunt. You have to do certain things. I mean, extremes are like the shift in baseball, which I'm sure when we get to, baseball season, we preview the season, we'll have a nice conversation about that. But it's, it's to an extreme. It's like, it's killing lefty batting average, but lefties aren't getting on base. So then that's what you want. So it's, I think you can't take the quote unquote guts out of game. But if used right, it could certainly amplify.
I would say just one more point on kind of the load management and scheduling thing. Like I know me, Damon, Brandon have been like huge on a soccer kick after the World Cup, but the European soccer model and schedule has it so right. Like it's unbelievable how good and entertaining it is because you play a 38 game season, but intertwined with Champions League and Euro Cups and all that type of stuff interspersed. So on, Wednesday, you have a random Champions League game, but on Sunday, you're playing your league game. So if there's any way that the NBA can kind of steal from that type of model, they really need to look into it.
Shoot, they might as well. They already adapted the flopping. Might as well just continue to go with it.
Shots fired.
So one of the main reasons outside of them being brothers, being great collaborators here, I wanted Harrison and Dame to be here because of a conversation that we had the other day. And I shared it with Sam, and there was no way in hell that I did not want to have and further this conversation because it was so great and it can go so many ways. And adding now Sam's perspective, which I have no idea who he's going to choose in this because I did not speak to him about it. I wanted to bring this up. So this has been circling around. Dame shared this in our group chat the other day. I had seen it like a week ago and had a conversation with my buddy JR that Harrison knows as well. And we went back and forth and we're breaking down, and also my big bro too, Derek as well, talking about this. So there's 3 teams. Okay. You guys may have seen this. There's the black team that consists of Tim Duncan, Dwayne Wade, David Robertson, Allen Iverson, and Kevin Durant. The red team, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Akeem Olajuwon, Tracy McGrady, Dennis Rodman. And the gold team, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Steph Curry, Magic Johnson, and Shaquille O'Neal. Which team are you picking? All right. So the first question, don't say anything else. I just want to know this first. What team are you picking? Sam, since I haven't spoken to you about this, which out of these 3 teams are you picking? I don't want to know the why yet, just the team.
Context. I'm going to ruin your one answer.
What? No, you like this. Go ahead.
I like data. I like analytics.
You're the analytics person that we were just talking about.
No, I'm going. Certainly, I'd want to know like when this game was played, and assuming everyone's in their prime. But like, when is this game played? Is it
so? Well, okay. We'll add some parameters to this. They're all in their prime. They're all in their prime. Okay. This is, let's just say this is a tournament. Let's just say this is a tournament. They're all in their prime.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you choose?
In today's NBA, I'm going to pick the gold team.
Okay.
Welcome to the club, baby.
Okay.
Do you want just an explanation now?
Nope, not yet. Harrison, you're a gold team, right? As well, right?
Yeah, I'm gold team.
Okay, so we all chose the gold team. So let's be very, very clear about this. Now, Sam, I will come back to you now. Why did you choose the gold team?
I just think they have the best all around team here. I mean, you have size, certainly. You have the best shooter in NBA history. Kobe, you want to put Kobe on Michael Jordan kind of thing. That would be entertaining as hell. LeBron James, we were saying it last week, like after he broke this record, his most iconic play is a defensive play, like just wild. And you have Magic Johnson and Shaq in his prime in the post. As long as he's not getting to the line, it's all right. But these teams are all bring something different. I think off of a screen though, you got Kobe and Steph running screens and off the ball there. And I don't know, man. I think Steph was the one who pushed it over the edge for me.
That is what I said to both Harrison and Dame in our text. I said, immediately looking at this, number one, any team that Shaq is on, I'm looking at the other teams and I'm saying, who the hell is guarding him?
You could have been on the red team too if you want.
I mean, I don't care where you put Shaq. I'm going to look at him first. Then I'm going to see what surrounds him because he is, in my opinion, the most dominating force to ever touch a basketball court. Period. All right. So you have Shaq. So then you have Steph Curry, to your point. Steph Curry spaces the floor. As soon as he steps over half court and doesn't even have to step over half court, the ball's going up. So now you have to worry about everybody under him. Period. Kobe can get his own shot. LeBron, who's going to guard LeBron? That's also another question. Because if I'm looking at the other teams, I'm saying Scottie Pippen is the only one that I think from either the red or black team that can guard him. I think Rodman could do something, but
you'd put Rodman on him.
That would be who I would put somebody just to irritate him. But even with that said, LeBron's still going to get his points. Then you have the Wizard and Magic Johnson that is going to be able to dish the ball wherever he wants to do. If anybody on this team that I'm saying is the weakest link, and this is wild for me to even say that, is Magic, right? It's Magic. Steph, you could say because of his size, but he makes up for it in his shot. and his ability to handle the ball. Magic is the only one that I think would be kind of like if I had to choose a weak link, it would be him. But that's wild to say because he's Magic Johnson, right? So that's why I chose the GOAT team. And I didn't even mention Kobe because Kobe's a dog. I kind of feel like Kobe and Jordan almost cancel each other out, but not really. So that's the way I started to eliminate. But I do think out of anybody on the other team that would give Shaq a fit, it would be the Dream. That's the only person that I think would give Shaq a fit.
Well, get him in foul trouble.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to go against a team with Michael Jordan on it. I mean, you look at this gold team of primarily Lakers, right? And the second greatest scorer of all time, or statistically, isn't even on, Kareem's not even on this graphic. So it's just wild. I mean,
we'll get to that. Don't worry about that. Harrison, Dame, why'd you choose the gold team?
A lot of same things, same reasons you like I said, I agree with you. I think prime Shaq is the most dominant player to ever touch a basketball. And no disrespect to Jordan, no disrespect to LeBron, no disrespect to Kareem. Like, I think prime Shaq, like, if he stayed that way, we can talk about him as the greatest player ever because of his size and like how he was able to finish. He was just that freaking dominant. And then like that from there, it's the same thing. Like, you got LeBron James, the all-time leading scorer in the NBA, and then Steph Curry, the greatest shooter of all time. Like, I just think they're well balanced, like Sam said. I'm curious to see who you guys think is the weakest team, but I think the gold team is a really good one.
Dame?
Yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much said all the stuff. I just, especially in this question in particular, like, everyone is in their prime. And anyone that had a chance to stop Shaq played in a half-court set and is just going to cater to that gold team even more. So, and prime Shaq learned to kick it out. So he's going to kick it out to open Steph Curry, Kobe, and, Magic. Like, Steph could play off ball, and that makes him even more deadly in that set. But for me, it's just Shaq, bro. Any team Shaq's on, like, I don't really care what the conversation is, because at some point, when the game gets serious, you have to get in a half-court set, and if he's not in foul trouble by then, it's going to be a problem.
So let me go right back to you, Dame.
2 points every time.
Let me go right back to you, Dame. Who is the weakest out of the teams remaining?
It's so tough, bro.
I know.
It's really tough to say who's the weakest team because, I don't know, man.
You got to choose one.
Let me just stare at this graphic for a second.
Yes, set it up.
It's so crazy, bro.
We'll set it up for the people at home. The black team: Tim Duncan, D Wade, David Robinson, AI, KD. Red team: MJ, Scotty, Hakeem, T-Mac, Dennis Rodman, and then the gold team: LeBron, Kobe, Shaq, Steph, and Magic. Go ahead, Dave.
The thing that makes this difficult is there's just a mix of things that I want to use to make the decision. Like, I want to out Dennis Rodman, but I can't because I've seen what he's done against David Robinson, and it's so tough. I would say I would have to pick the black team, bro. I would have to pick the black team. It's just it hurts, but I have to pick the black team. I don't have a good reasoning for it. Don't ask me nothing else. It hurts to do this, bro. Dwayne Wade and AI is on this team.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult. Like, Dwayne Wade single-handedly dismantled a country by himself with the Team USA. Like, but I gotta tell you guys, he's on the weakest team here. I just don't. Someone else go.
Could have been on the red team too. I mean, this graphic, guys, is based on people wearing, the jersey colors. Here is essentially what we're talking about here too. I'd say the black team too, and it's really hard because I'm a huge Tim Duncan fan. He's just unsung hero of like our generation of basketball. Does not get enough credit for how dominant and how well he played for so long through so many different eras of Spurs basketball. I mean, starting with Robinson and then ending with Kawhi. So that's wild. I just look at the team. I mean, they have KD, D Wade, Robinson, Tim Duncan. It's like AI to me. I feel like I
find this so funny that Sam keeps repeating the names because he's just like, he has to.
You're talking so.
Like, he's repeating the names. Like, I said it. He's repeated it twice now. He's like saying this stuff like, I'm saying this out loud, but it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I also wanted to set it up for the listeners who aren't staring at this and we're rambling on, so they might have, lost.
Oh, hilarious.
I don't know.
I'd say the Black team. Can we just point out that no one has stopped AI on any of these teams? And then it's all right. I mean,
AI's definitely dragged some of the worst teams ever to, the playoffs. So the fact that he's playing with this kind of support.
Eric Snow.
Yeah, Eric Snow.
Aaron McKee, bro.
Aaron McKee, yes.
Kembe Mutombo.
Tyrone Hill.
Yeah.
Harrison, who you got?
I'm the Black team as well. But I think the fun part about this one, you see them often, like how much money you have to spend and stuff like that. But this one is pretty good. Like this one is actually really tough. Some of them are like, oh, that's an easy one, but this one is tough. And I'm glad to have a fellow Tim Duncan lover in Sam. Like he does not get enough credit. I think he's the best power forward.
He is.
Some people, but people don't bring his name up like that, and it's wild because he has so many titles. He was always that dude, always. But it's just tough. I think I'm picking the Black team just because I think Red is, it's got Michael Jordan on it, and it's just tough. And Hakeem, it's just tough to pick against Red, but it's no shot at what the Black team has to offer. But this was a good graphic, that's for sure.
Yeah, we'll post it on Instagram.
Really quick. So it's definitely Black for me. We all have Black. To your point, Harrison, it was Charles Barkley first that changed the power forward position. Then Tim Duncan came along and he changed that again. And the reason why he doesn't get the credit is just think about his nickname, the big fundamental. He played the way that you should play basketball. He wasn't flashy. He just did what he needed to do. He was quiet. You can even hear from his peers the way he would trash talk to you. It was so crazy that he would just speak to you softly and just come down and just say something to you. And you just be like, huh? And that would be it. He would just kill you with silence. And he's not flashy. Him, David Robinson are the two players on this whole thing that were not flashy at all. Are not flashy players at all. Right. And everybody else on here has some pizzazz to him. So, but just saying that. So we also, just to piggyback on this, so before we move on to the next thing, we said, what would make the Black team better? What would you change to make them more competitive against the Red and Gold team? Go ahead, Sam.
Dame Lillard.
See, I didn't even say that to Dame. I did not say that to Sam at all.
Well, you know how I feel about
the same thing.
Yeah, you know how I feel about Dame.
We all said the same thing. It would be Dame.
Giannis somehow.
And if you could get Giannis in a black Bucks jersey too, obviously. But instead of AI, I love you AI, but Dame Lillard.
That's what I said in the chat. I'm like, we're all big AI fans, but I would literally cut my socks and wear them on my arm as a sleeve, playing basketball. So,
all through high school.
Yeah, crazy stuff. So when I brought it up, I'm like, this is going to be blasphemous, but is Dame Lillard better than AI? And I'm like, yeah, he is. But
we didn't argue it.
Can't say that. I don't know. I feel like I can't say it.
Their games are so different.
Yeah.
I think Dame fits this team a lot better than AI, because I look at
make it Dame George. Put Dame George on this.
I'm the first 3-and-D player in the history of the league, baby. Not a lie.
No, that's funny. That's the first name I thought it was.
Can I point out one thing that we're gonna give Harrison the AI title as the biggest fan? He legit was in school with the armband on. Legit in school. We used to have those Nike string backpacks, and I'm like, what the hell is that? Oh, he's Allen Iverson. Got it.
This was before compression sleeves weren't a thing. They didn't exist yet.
So, you remember when he used to have the spider web on his sleeve?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Spider web tat, the finger sleeves.
He was that dude. Yeah. Yeah.
Sanji Harrison Baker he could up that Black team, boy.
Wow, that was a dope combo. Okay, that's all I wanted to bring that on here. Sam, you want to bring us into the NFL?
Yeah, man.
I'm waiting on this one.
Oh boy. Okay.
Where are we starting here?
Coach hires.
Oh, coach hires. Hey, since we last spoke, some coaches were hired. Most notably, the Eagles' offensive coordinator. What's his name?
Shane Steichen.
No, I know. Your boy. You lost both your coordinators, Hayes. I got to give it to you first. Both your coordinators, offense and defense, are now head coaches in the league. Your thoughts on the new Indianapolis Colts?
Well, I'll say this again, as I've said it on here before, and you looked at me like I had 10 heads. Super, 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 super happy that Jonathan Gannon is gone. Yes. Yes, we just did go to the Super Bowl.
He had like the second best defense in the league.
Yeah, and then you saw what it did in the Super Bowl, right? With the game plan that they brought Vic Fangio in to work with. Didn't do too well against Patrick Mahomes on one leg. But that's also Patrick Mahomes. But I don't. There's been plenty of times throughout the year that I've openly said I wish Jonathan Gannon was gone, and I very, very, very much so like who they have in the conversation right now for defensive coordinator, which is Vance Joseph. What's the guy from Wisconsin? Forgot his last name. Him. There's also looking at the Chargers defensive back coordinator that used to coach alongside of Sirianni as well too. So that I'm cool with Gannon gone. Shane Steichen though, I'm kind of upset that he's gone. But as I mentioned before, the Eagles, their quarterback coach, I 100% am happy that he's going to get a chance because he's going to be the offensive coordinator from this point. So I'm fine with both, really. Just fine.
Cool. I'm fine if you're fine.
Yes.
We're glad you're fine.
Thanks.
I'm happy.
Thanks.
For you.
Thanks. Jerks.
The Nick Sirianni, does he call the plays?
He was a part of it, but he has said that during the next season he will be relinquishing that. So he has nothing to do with that going forward.
Gotcha. All right.
Fly Eagles fly.
No.
Hayes with the insider information?
No. You can't say that, Harrison. Yes, Dame, yes.
I guess
wait. Brandon, he can't get back on the train?
No.
What does he have to do? Like,
he's not allowed back. He stays with the Jets. He's a Jets
no matter
fan.
what?
He's a Jets fan. Yep. He can't come back. He left.
Wow.
He didn't have to go through the paper bag phase. He left. He's gone.
My bad, Sam. I didn't mean to cut you off, Brian.
Are we giving Harrison crap because he's no longer an Eagles fan?
Yes. Harrison left me, gave me.
What were the paper bag years?
Harrison hit me. I'll tell you the paper bag years. Harrison hit me with the girlfriend moving out routine. He took his stuff, his Eagle stuff, and put it in a box and was like, "Here, you could have this," and left. So no, he's never allowed back. Period.
Oh,
I will never forget that, Harrison. You left me by my lonesome.
I'm not gonna let. I can't let Harrison go out like that. As much as I want to slander him,
go ahead.
He was hurt, bro. You had to see the pain on his face. It wasn't just like I'm sick of this team losing. Like it cut him deep. Like, you know what I mean? Like it hurt bad. Like,
dude, I'm a Jets fan. You do not have to explain anything to me.
I went from one team that did it to another. So
you did. You did.
And I missed the Super Bowl year, so that was fun.
Sure did.
I just trying to think of the lean years in Philadelphia Eagles history. I don't.
It was really just when they
Kelly.
lost. When they lost, or when McNabb left, when Westbrook left, and when Dawkins left, I had.
That's when he left. But I, as you know, stayed. But when Andy Reid was coming to the end of his career, I was at the Eagles-Panther game in Andy Reid's final season, and fans were literally wearing paper bags on their head at the game, booing the Eagles. Like it was that bad. Bad.
Philly fans are dramatic, though.
That's fair. That's fair. That's why I'm very happy that I'm a New York Philly fan, because it's like when people are like, "Yeah, Philly fans suck," and I'm just like, "This is great. It's great," because I'm not there. What are you gonna say, Dave?
You're dramatic. You have a flag.
I'm not them.
You cry. You were on your floor in tears with your flag draped over you when they won.
So that's dramatic for my team winning their first Super Bowl ever.
I don't know what I would do if the Jets
I have
won
more
the Super Bowl,
information than that, but it's fine. It's your show. We're not here.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. You can air it out if you like to.
No.
I would not. Did you cry, Hayes? I would
I
not
did
judge
for
you
the
if he
Super
cries.
Bowl.
Yeah,
I
I wouldn't
did.
judge you.
He
I
earned that
did,
one.
but it's okay. Let's go to Dame's team, the Washington Commanders.
I don't have a team.
You do. The Washington Commanders, who just signed Eric Bieniemy as their offensive coordinator,
That is correct.
who was formerly with the Chiefs and just won another Super Bowl. So, Dame, the resident Commanders fan, how are you feeling about this?
Why are you saying it like that? What's the problem? Like, you got something against him? Like,
you know what the problem is. Resident Commanders fan, how you feeling about this?
Well, I'll tell you like this: if they win the Super Bowl, I also am going to cry on the floor.
Thank you. Exactly.
Man, honestly, I've just been in this cesspool for a long time. It doesn't matter what comes here, bro. It doesn't matter. You can bring all of the steel curtain, we still ain't winning, bro. I don't know what it is. Like, you know what? He's almost there. He put his house on. I know too much. He put his house up for sale already. It's been on the market for a while, and he's waiting for a better offer or something like that. We need to get him out of there ASAP.
He's asking for $7 billion for the team right now.
Yeah. But we need to change everything. Even the people at the gate that let people in. Like, the new stadium is supposedly been approved. I don't know if it's approved. It looks nice. Looks great if it's real, but there's nothing. We don't need to stay here. You guys can just.
Oh no, gonna happen. We need to stay here. We need to stay here.
Speaking on Bieniemy, though, I kind of hate that this happened.
I do too.
Like that it quote needed to happen. He needed to prove himself. I don't love the fit. Like, he's got a lot of work to do. But I also think it's interesting. I mean, Ron Rivera is so desperate. This coaching staff is so desperate to keep their jobs that, like, literally Ron Rivera just hired his replacement because he's on a 2-year deal. I think Rivera can walk, and if he's not even fired at some point. And again, I love Ron Rivera, the coach, great story. I mean, and all that, but this team just hasn't. This team could be playing better. I mean, they've had moments. I like Taylor Heineke at moments. He's had certainly that, but I wish this defense would have came together better than they had. And again, I just hate that Bieniemy had to take a lateral move here.
I hate them.
I hate the NFL. I hate that Eric Bieniemy had to make a lateral move to prove his worth. Right. I really just not a fan of the fact that this man has been with the Chiefs and they have done nothing but go to AFC championships for 5 straight years in a row. Right. And they've won 2 Super Bowls, but yet he's not the guy. It's Andy Reid. So he has to now go, no offense, Dame, go to the Commanders to prove his worth as if he wasn't doing that. But we get Nathaniel Hackett, who was coordinating for Aaron Rodgers, goes to the Broncos, does absolutely nothing, and now is the offensive coordinator of both of your teams. It just blows my mind that he got an opportunity, but his track record, as I said on here, Sam, and it proved exactly my point. So he's never been to where Eric Bieniemy has been and has won, and yet he got a head coaching opportunity, and we saw how that turned out. But Eric Bieniemy keeps winning, and that's all he keeps doing, and he cannot get a head coach role. I mean, you know how I feel about it. You know how I feel about the NFL and the Rooney Rule, that they actually even have to have a rule in place to do this. But it's just sad to see that he has to go there. I don't want to see Ron Rivera lose his job. I'm sure he probably will, depending on what type of product they put out. The Commanders were missing a lot of pieces last year due to injury. So who knows what we'll get. But I just hope he flourishes. I just don't know what's going to happen. Like, I saw even an article today of Jim Caldwell said that he's not even trying for a head coach position anymore because he's been in the conversation and doesn't even get essentially a fair shake. Right. So a lot to fix there. It's a cesspool there too.
I just like the awkward silence there. Go ahead.
Do you think Hackett struggling so badly has a lot to do with them no one wanting to hire Bieniemy? or not giving him the head coach position, a head coach position?
No. I just
no.
I just don't. My gripe has always been that I've watched what's his name? Byron Leftwich. Prime example of this. Byron Leftwich gets the boot after 2 years removed from winning the Super Bowl, gets the boot after essentially one bad season, and they go and replace and do all these other things and blame him for that. Yet Tom Brady didn't have his best season this year, right? And it's so quick that they move on black coaches and remove them from the situation like that. And then they got to fight to find another position somewhere else. I've watched it over and over and over again. Sam and I sat here and thought that, what's Wilkes' first name? Steve Wilkes, right? We thought that he was going to be the head coach of the Panthers. After what he did and how he brought that team together and made them fight, you can see the camaraderie in that team. If you watch them in the latter half of the season, how they fought together and how the team came behind him and what they weren't doing with the previous coach. And then, nope, they went and got Frank Reich. Yeah. Okay, Frank Reich just got fired. Cool, we're going to go get him now. And now he's out in, where is he now, Sam? Chargers?
Actually,
or Niners. Niners.
Oh, the Niners, yeah,
right?
So
he did get another opportunity, but it's far and few between, is my point.
I mean, you're losing CMC, you trade him away, you have a hot mess at under center, and you basically kicked Robbie Anderson out. And he did all of that, and they were still, I mean, I know it was the NFC South, and the whole division was bad, but they were in it till the end. It's wild. Yeah, you're right there. I think to the Hackett point, your comparison, I mean, I would be shocked if Nathaniel Hackett got another head coaching job. It kind of reminds me of like Dennis Allen, who's now the head coach of the Saints, and he, it was such a mess in Oakland. And he kind of just got into the Saints job once Peyton left. I mean, Nathaniel Hackett blew up on a legendary kind of scale here. And, I don't know. Bieniemy he's been past it. How many times we've been sitting here and just saying, yeah, okay, Bieniemy's applying for this job and that job. And does he not is this scheme that he presents to these teams not good enough? Does he not interview well? Is he not bringing the right? I mean, I really want to hope that it's not a race thing, and I'm just trying to look at some of the other things here, but certainly it has not impressed enough teams. But we've seen it's been well documented that this whole thing, the Rooney Rule, all of it's just a freaking mess. And there's no signs of it getting better, especially when you look at the head coaches in this league now.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Let's move on from this sad topic before I end up getting all political on y'all real quick. Let's go to Do You Care, Sam.
Hey, do you care?
Close this damn thing out. No, I don't care. Let's go.
Cool. The NFL franchise tag window opened today. Now through March 7th, teams have 2 weeks to apply a 1-year tender to players. They can either sign that tender and negotiate a longer deal or not, but they have through July 15th. So there's two types of tenders. There's exclusive and non-exclusive. One allows, the player to seek other offers and get compensation. And the exclusive tag is basically saying, nope, you're signing this 1-year deal, you're ours, kind of thing. And yeah, just a mechanism that is used to kind of keep players like Lamar Jackson is the prime example here under contract at least for another year. I think Jeremy Fowler today on ESPN said 3 of the last 10 years a quarterback's been tagged. So it hasn't happened nearly as much as it used to. But right now the going rate for a quarterback is about $27 million. Running backs 10, wideouts are almost 18 million. That just looking at some of these players that could be tagged here. Guys, do you care about the franchise tag? And I guess leads to a bigger conversation of players that could be tagged this year, whether it's, we've talked about the Giants too, Daniel Jones, Saquon. I just mentioned Lamar. What do you guys think about the tagging process, if you
will? I mean, if Lamar Jackson isn't tagged and it comes to the Commanders, I care. But I don't know, man. That's a tough question because I guess if a player doesn't want to be there, it'd be nice to see him go somewhere where he can win or make a decision and maybe get to a team instead of getting traded. But other than that, I don't care. And I just like, as long as they play the next year, I really don't care where it is.
Yeah, for me, it's like a little like the intricacies of it and the complexities of like the franchise tag itself. I don't quite get or see why it's in place. So it's tough for me to like care about it. Or the one reason I do care about it this year is to see if Lamar Jackson gets tagged or not, obviously.
Yep.
But other than that, like Sam said, like it's used every now and then. It's obviously, something that NFL owners and GMs keep for their use to kind of hold on to a player that I guess not quite sure about. I don't understand the reason for using it. But yeah, I kind of care, but not really.
I only care when it comes to the players on my team and then my favorite players. That's really it. Like for instance, CJ Gardner-Johnson for the Eagles, he's going to get franchise tag because they're negotiating with Jalen Hurts right now for his long contract that he's about to get, but they don't want to lose him. So they're franchise tagging them. So in the meantime, they can negotiate and figure out a longer contract with him too. So I like how they use that for leverage for that to keep some of their assets at the same time, but I don't like it in the aspect of what the Ravens are doing with Lamar Jackson. You know what you have in there. You know that several teams that don't have their starting quarterback that's a premium starting quarterback, to be clear, would want him. That means pretty much damn near every team out of like 5 want Lamar Jackson. So the fact that you are going to try to franchise tag him, he doesn't have to sign that, which at that point in time means they're not on the same page, and he can essentially start looking for a trade and look for other teams, which I really, really hope that happens in this point because the Ravens have done him absolutely wrong. I know he's betting on himself, and I know what they've offered him, but he has a valid point. He's won the MVP. Deshaun Watson literally has not won the MVP and has had all off-field problems. It's not to bring him down. It's just to make a point of what he's trying to use as leverage. And I wholeheartedly believe he deserves every bit of the coin that he's trying to get. And I hope he gets it wherever that may be, to Dame's point. I don't really care where it's going to be. If it's for his Commanders, fine. I'd like to see him in Miami back at his home team. So that would be nice too. So
that'd be a crazy fit.
That would be a crazy fit.
Deshaun Watson's agent. They probably got the same agent as Andre Miller because Andre Miller just kept getting the contract, boy.
Andre Miller. It's Lamar on Miami would be insane because they're already like the fastest team in the league.
It's a track meet.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I think the fact that like forcing these guys to end up signing this by X date is like kind of crazy. I like the idea of that non-exclusive tag where it's like, all right, let me go. It's like an offer sheet in the NBA. All right, let me. I'm a restricted free agent. Let me see if I can get something better. And then if the team, kind of put the Ravens to the fire here, and if the Saints or the Falcons or the Jets or anyone else will offer you a better deal and give you a couple picks, then you got to let them go, kind of thing. I think the Ravens could get more if they sign him to a contract and then trade him. But I don't love the process. It's kind of like that ace in the hole for GMs and vice presidents and personnel and stuff. And it's I don't really like it. Just do right by the player.
Yeah, agreed.
But Deshaun Watson getting $230 million guaranteed with 20 plus assault allegations under his belt. We talked about at the time, we continue to talk about it, just has changed the landscape of at least QB money in the NFL, especially when NFL contracts aren't guaranteed. So it's wild there. Again, I go through another Do You Care segment, and I do not have to answer if I care or not. Kind of my game. All right. Last but not least, we will end on this. The XFL returned for a whopping third time this past Saturday, now owned by The Rock and Dwayne The Rock Johnson, his ex-wife, and some venture capitalists. The XFL is back with, it happened. What did you guys?
So he started the XFL with his ex-wife.
He bought it with his ex-wife and
wow.
and some guy with a lot more money than the two of them.
I was wondering who she was. So thank you for shedding light on that, because I had no idea who she was. I was like, she's just a businesswoman and she's doing her thing. And now that I know that she's his ex-wife, that just adds for me. It's giving. Sam, I do care for one reason only, because I went to the New York Guardians for the second time they brought the XFL back. Guess where the Guardians play now? Orlando. So yeah. I have a New York Guardians logo, which is still the same one for Orlando. And now if I wear that, people are going to think that I'm a fan of the Orlando Guardians, which I am not. And they took a team out of New York. I'm upset about that because I actually enjoyed the game, because literally it was pretty much just people going there to get hammered, and that was fun. It was not fun being at a football game in the middle of the winter, like the coldest parts of New York. But yeah, that's the only thing. And I also care about the replay. I like the replay system, and I wish the NFL would adapt that. But outside of that, I don't really care. I don't care. They got Josh Gordon in the league. Don't care.
Haim?
I don't care. I find that there's a lot of players in there that I used to yell at, i.e. Matt Elam.
There you go.
Safety.
Yep.
I turned it on and I'm like, I'd rather watch college. I don't know. It's just something weird about it. It doesn't grab me. I didn't enjoy the speech by The Rock either in the beginning. It just, I don't know, man. It's just not it. It don't got nothing to it for me, honestly.
I just feel like they're trying to capitalize on the void of fans missing out on football for that duration, because you got to wait all the way until September for them to play again. But I also just feel like this is like the Canadian Football League 2.0. Like this is what it feels like, and I don't even watch that, and that's been around way longer, and that's got possibly better athletes. I don't.
The aesthetics are off, man. It just seems so off-brand. Like everything about it.
It feels cheesy, and that's hard for me to say about football. Like it feels cheesy. Like
the colors, they're weird. The opening, I don't know. It's just very weird.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Harrison, do you care?
No, not at all.
Did you watch the game?
I didn't think so.
Game?
I didn't know it was happening until I saw it on TV. I swear to God, I did not know the XFL was coming back. Football is probably my fourth favorite sport to watch. So the void for me, there's no football void. Like I get enough football when it's on. So
you said it's your fourth. What is the other three? I know basketball is one for you.
Basketball. I enjoy watching golf more, and I enjoy watching
soccer, football, football, the official football. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, official football is like, it's definitely number 2 for me right now.
Yeah. I agree.
It's a hot take, but football as a product to me, it's I think it's overhyped. But that's a conversation.
Next time on the Chasing Points podcast. I like some of the rule changes. There's certainly an audience for spring football. I mean, we're gonna see the USFL is coming back too in a couple weeks, and they tried it with that other league that
also news to me.
Yeah, there was the AFL or the AAF or whatever that was. You remember that? Like that folded too. Yeah. That didn't even finish the season.
No, not at all.
At least the XFL, the last time it was COVID, that kind of strapped that season from happening. I like some of the rule changes. It'd be interesting to see if the NFL adapts any of those, like the play clock changed from 25 seconds to 35, 3 timeouts per half, not 2. The that 4th and 15, 4th and 15 instead of an onside kick, that's pretty cool option. But the more coaches challenge, but overall, I there's a place for it, and certainly, if they have the support of ESPN or Fox Sports or wherever, it'll have a home on TV. But I don't care.
Sure.
And our audience too. We post those "Do you care" polls, and then get one vote for people caring about the XFL. So yeah, poor
it's
XFL.
horrible, bro. They don't got no playmakers. Like arena football, there's a 7-on-7 flag league that is way more entertaining.
Oh my God, yes, absolutely.
The tackle one, like
absolutely.
I did like arena football. Does that still happen?
Nah, they went bankrupt if I'm not mistaken. But they tried to come back. The Philadelphia Soul was the truth, bro.
There's some organization that's doing it. I just remember watching a clip like maybe a year or so ago of was it a wide receiver or quarterback threw a touchdown and then basically went to the sideline, smoked a joint like right on the field. Like it was just crazy.
I
remember,
yeah.
It's just this is where we're at with things. So that's that, and we can end the pod on that. Sam, close.
I lied. One person said they cared about the XFL. It's probably our friend Dave from Sports Illustrated. Used to work at the XFL or for WWE, so it's probably Dave.
Makes sense.
I will confirm. Hey, but Harrison Dame, thank you so much for joining us. You're always welcome. The mic is always on for you. Appreciate it. So for Harrison Dame and Brandon, thank you so much for listening to Chasing Points podcast, episode 89 in the books. We'll be back next week. Until then, peace.
3 things.
Jeez.
Wait, what? We're still on?
This is the point where Brandon
it's not the point you talk. This is the point I talk. Shh. Number 1, I love these 3 gentlemen. That's number 1. Number 2, Mookie Betts just admitted that the Red Sox in 2018 used video to steal signs, but made sure to say they didn't do it during the World Series. Mookie, I love you, but use a lie. It's a whole lie. All right, that's number 1 or number 2. Number 3, and the most important out of all this, well, outside the fact that I love these gentlemen, John Bones Jones fights next weekend. I will repeat, John Bones Jones fights next weekend. If you have, or any of you are my friends on here and want to do anything at 10 p.m. on Saturday, March 4th, know that I will not be leaving my household unless you have this fight on. I don't care if your child is having a christening. I don't care if you need me to help you move something. I'm watching John Bones Jones. And that's it. That's all I have to share with y'all. Invite me over so we can watch the fight, or don't talk to me. Bye.